What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Faqs Boys. You're here for another episode of the Faqs Project. Today, two very special guests. One very much repeat guest. Anthony Stokes is back, of course, with the program. And today, very first time on the program, AJ Ampadu. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me. Yo, that opening sample that you play, it's like two of my favorite hip hop records that use that same sample.
Mm-hmm.
There's a J Electronica joint called Dear Moleskin.
Dear
That's
Moses.
a beat.
Yep.
That's like a B-side. You know, a lot of his stuff is just like weird B-sides and stuff like that.
Just Blaze just knows how to pick them.
Yes, he does. And there's a De La Soul song off of the Stakes Is High album. I'm dating myself a bit, but I forget the name of it now. I can't remember it, but they use that same sample. I love both of those records. So you just stroked some nostalgia just now with that little sample real quick.
Okay. Look, man, I appreciate it. Thank you. Once again, I work in nightlife, so I get samples from my DJs all the time. So I'll be like, look, I need an intro beat. And somebody gave me a ton of samples. So that's what I came up with. But once again, good to have the both of you on the program. We are here for the most part to discuss the works of course, these two talented young black men. To basically talk about this brand new comic that's going to be coming live to Kickstarter very soon. As a matter of fact, what is our official launch date?
Stokes is smiling because the delays, but on me. We're going with next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is March 3rd. Okay, March 3rd. You heard it first here.
Okay, March 3rd. We'll go with March 3rd. Okay, so we are talking about Silent Count, which is, of course, for anybody knows, not too many football comics get released on Kickstarter. As a matter of fact, I think Stokes was one of the first people I seen to do a wrestling comic on Kickstarter. And as a matter of fact, not too many people dive into the world of sports. The title, Silent Count, evokes football terminology. So how does that theme translate into the narrative itself? AJ.
Oh, okay. So I want to say firstly that this is a story that Stokes and I developed, but Stokes is actually the writer of this comic. So with a lot of the story questions and everything, I will default to him, but generally my answer to your question is that it's a double entendre for the title. If you know anything about football, you may be familiar with the silent count and what that means when a quarterback starts a play without being audible. There's a character in this story that is also nonverbal. So it was just a clever play on words to call the comic book Silent Count. If you know anything about football, if you know anything about the sport, it's just a cool title. So we went with this like collegiate font to kind of emphasize it takes place in high school. Now I just realized I said collegiate and it's high school, but whatever.
It is a collegiate font.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, it is a
Nebraska Cornhuskers font right there.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so my contribution to this comic really is from a production point of view, helping out with the printing and the design and just basically overlooking Stokes' work. When I've collaborated with other creators before, but I've never collaborated with someone who is as not only professional but as accomplished as Stokes. So I wanted to kind of have a hands-off approach on this. I didn't want to get in the way of him being great, but at the same time I wanted to add whatever I could add to this process. So when it came to this comic, from the soup to nuts, we designed everything from the uniforms to the teams to the color design. You're looking at the Ashcan, by the way. This is the first 8 pages.
Okay.
So it's just a preview comic here. And Stokes helped build the art team, and we just started working on it page by page. And it's been a great journey. I think the final product is just a beautiful, beautiful comic. Might even be one of the most beautiful comics I've ever worked on.
Word.
So I'm very inspired by what we've done here. I also think that we're filling a void here. As you mentioned already, to your point, there's not a lot of sports comics. And American football is my favorite sport. I love all sports, but I was just going crazy with curling last week. Who knew curling is actually pretty dope? But yeah, I love all sports, and American football is my favorite sport. And you can tell, I'm a lifelong you know, glutton for punishment, Buffalo Bills fan.
Bills fan walking around
So
New Jersey. I get
yes,
it.
exactly. Listen, man, you know what's
Oh,
crazy? We don't get that much smoke. We get a lot of love actually in Jersey. Now,
Okay.
if I was walking around with a Cowboys,
Yeah, you might
hat
get.
on, or like, there's a few teams that I would catch a lot of smoke for, but there's a lot of Bills fans in New Jersey actually. So I'm fine. I'm actually feel like I'm right at home, except when we play the Jets and just have to beat them twice a year. But anyway, um, silent count, yes. So we're filling a void because there's not a lot of sports comics. This is also a YA comic. So it's not basically all ages is what the way I want to say
Word.
could
Yep.
appreciate that. And right now there's not a lot of YA stuff for young boys.
Mm.
We just wanted to, and not to say that this is gender specific. I think that anyone can read this, but just
Yeah.
just to have something that stars two young teenage boys and focusing on their journey, is it was important to me. Especially, I just had my second child 2 months ago, and he's a boy. So I have two sons. So this kind of is a full circle moment for me. So
Yeah.
it's just like the perfect storm. I just think it was a perfect storm of Stokes coming to me with and us having this idea and us both really wanting to do a football comic, us both being very passionate about both football and comic books, and we have it. So I can't wait for people to get their hands on this.
Dope. Now I get to jump into Stokes' mental real quick because I know
yeah. Oh,
I know you like to dive off the beaten path. So
yeah.
there's this big thing that you like to do, especially exploring how like manga kind of like takes advantage of a lot of sports and everything like that. So jumping
Yeah.
into the all ages football core concept of this, what drew you to this?
I had the idea for a long time, actually. It looked very different. It was almost like Friday Night Lights, but if you could take this idea, like so, the main character speaks in ASL, so they don't
Okay,
speak. They're nonverbal,
got you.
and so it was kind of like imagine the way I conceived originally was imagine that there was a bunch of different characters that were kind of like this, but and funny enough, like a lot of my ideas, it got rejected. And then I was like, okay, cool. So let me pitch this around to my friends. And then AJ was like, okay, yeah, this is I like this. This is lit. He already had a bunch of all ages book. As you know, I think everybody knows, none of my other stuff is all ages. So I was
True.
trying to fill a void, I guess, in my own market, and because, like kids will walk over and it's kind of uncomfortable. I'm like, yo, I don't have nothing. I don't even have anything for you. You could even read the back, the interior, the inside cover, So it was that. And I think where AJ was made a lot of key contributions in terms of, yeah, we went back and forth with the not went back and forth, but we figured out the design. And I guess I would say that he really was instrumental in a lot of the, like you said, the production, like the auxiliary stuff. Like he was like, okay, like let's make sure the uniforms look good. Let's make sure. And he was all this kind of stuff that I'm not gonna say I wouldn't have thought of, but he put emphasis on that stuff, and that was great. And he also had the idea, I believe, to have the signage be in speech bubbles, I believe. So really it was it's been great. It's been I'm gonna be honest, man. We've been working on this book for like a year and a half, it feels like. And it's not easy. This is a really hard fucking book to make,
The,
I was
honestly.
the good thing I would say about that, the amount of time we've been working on it, is that we're close to being done. Like you guys are getting the first issue with our Kickstarter,
yeah,
but it's a 4 issue series, and we're working on issue 3 now.
got it.
So like I've never
Issue
been
four.
this far. Issue 4, right. I've never been this far ahead of production schedule. Usually, especially with independent indie comics, it takes forever for people to get their stuff out. And that's one thing I have to credit Stokes. He's very diligent about getting his books out. And we have a whole conversation about fulfillment and creators not getting their books out. But this is the first time where we're gonna get this project out pretty quickly. Once the first Kickstarter launches, you'll see the subsequent ones. You'll see all 4 issues, and then we'll finally get that nice collected volume when we're all set and done. So
Can't
yeah.
wait.
When you talk about like the difficulty of it, if we're talking about a non-verbal character,
Yeah.
especially like the details that basically have to be done through the artist. through
Yeah.
the attitude and basically through the feelings that are basically holding to a chord. And this is the main character. So this is going to happen a ton throughout the book. So,
One of the main characters, I would
so,
say.
even in that sense, like you're talking about basically the character going through these range of emotions that are happening throughout his football team. And then having to describe that with the artist to basically get that through to the pages and how that is exactly done. Because I know you're tedious. So I can imagine how those conversations were. No, he has to look like this. No, he has to, like the facial expressions. No, they have to be a little bit more demeaning.
There's a lot of that. I'll be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of that in terms of, yes, we have to. There's no verbal, communication, and then even with the ASL, it's hard to be. I try to be economic, So even that is. I mean, even researching that, it took a lot. So yeah, no, it's a heavy emphasis on character acting. And shouts out to the artist Gabriel Fonseca, because he generally will knock it out the park and even add a lot of dynamicism. And then sometimes you got to be like, all right, we need to take this and then like put it in a different direction. But it's a lot.
It's like being a great quarterback and handing it off to a running back who just runs it for 50 yards. It's like, yeah, you have a lot of skill, but the artist just took it away and just really like was able to fill in that blank. And with the whole ASL thing, as you mentioned, and that was a very actually observant comment that you just mentioned. How do we translate that? How do we, make the ASL look real? How do we make the people who are reading the comic book understand it? How does the emotion come through when someone is using sign language on a comic book page? All of those things were challenges that we had to figure out when we were creating it, and that is a group effort. Not only is it the script that Stokes writes, not only is it the artwork that Gabriel provides, but it's the lettering that Letter Squids provides, and how all those things come together and does it look right. Like we might all have the right idea, but then the final product's like, something's a little bit off. We got to change this, we got to change that, and just so that it makes perfect sense for whoever's reading it. So that was a great question there.
Yeah, and even let's talk about that even double-sided, because the aspect of this, because maybe one of the first football comics that I'm knowledgeable of, the aspects of football that you wanted to capture visually versus narratively, game action, locker rooms, character emotions, injuries, so on and so forth, things that you see in football constantly on a live scale being brought to the page. As far, you talk to comic artists all the time, they're able to utilize action, but they're usually doing it with a weapon in their hand.
Yeah.
How do you basically do that from a team aspect? Everybody's moving in a certain way, almost in the areas of how people game plan through football.
Yeah, so this series owes a lot to iShield 21, which was one of my favorite manga growing up. Maybe my very favorite, because it was this great intersection of like manga and then football, which I kind of liked in theory, but I wasn't really watching football back then. And what I did actually, I read the entire series, and then I like 80% of it, and I would just grab screen grabs whenever it was like some good composition, whenever it was a good angle, I thought, whenever there was like some kind of visual cue that I thought would help communicate to the artist, because our artist is Brazilian, so he doesn't watch American football. So I was like, I wanted as many things as many references possible, and I think that helps. Also, like I said, Gabriel is just so he never phones it in. Never, not one time does he phone it in. So he just tries to make everything so dynamic. So it's kind of just like getting him from a good starting point, like getting him 40% there, and he'll carry it. He'll carry it over the goal line.
That's what's happening now. Obviously, was it now AJ? I'm going to say that you played football.
Yeah, I played football. I was D-line in high school, St. Joseph Collegiate Institute Marauders. Shout out. My school was huge on athletics, and we even had to produce a couple of NFL players. I was never good enough, but I just wanted to play just to play. So yeah, I played.
Now, was that like a big aspect of putting this together?
I mean, so it was a motivation for me to make a comic about football 100%. I do have to reiterate, though, that Stokes wrote the script, so it's probably more of his, emotion. If I had written, it probably would have taken place in Buffalo. To the fact, but that's it's fine though. It's fine. It's still great. I actually really like the whole Maryland thing, so it actually worked out. But yes, it was very instrumental in my decision to produce a football comic book, 100%. My time at playing football, and also when I look at some of the scenarios that these kids are going through in this comic, I absolutely can relate. Where it feels authentic because I remember that time in my life.
Now, Stokes, I'll say this: being as how you didn't watch a lot of football, football has its own language, culture.
Yeah.
How did you make that accessible to folks who aren't big sports fans?
Well, I'm a big football fan now. But as a kid, I was reading Ashcans 21.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of like, and this series would not exist without Ashcans 21. That was when I didn't care. And about 2014, I started becoming a football fanatic, honestly. To an obsessive degree. I was a dude with like 10 fantasy football teams. It was gross. I actually quit to making comics. I was like, man, I can only have so many vices. In terms of that, like I said, I think if we can communicate it right to our artists who, if they speak English, it's English as a second language.
Yeah.
And then, if we can communicate it to him, then he'll understand and conceptualize it. He can communicate it to the audience. It's not super, like, the actual mechanics of football aren't super duper important in a sense. Like, it is really at the end of the day, it really is about the characters.
Yeah.
So much of it is just about communicating like emotion and character. And once again, Gabriel he's amazing at it, so
yeah.
I think it was a thought for me, and something that, like I said, if I can convince Gabriel, or if I can get Gabriel to understand, then we'll get an audience to understand for sure.
Now, we've seen in the past football players that have had disabilities. Shaquille Griffin playing for the Seahawks.
Yep.
Man literally had one arm out there. We think of them, of course, for the most part, as real life gladiators that are out there. So when we're thinking about the characters of basically or inspirations, are there football player or real world football player stories that may have inspired elements of the comic?
Yes. Lamar Jackson was the big one, which is why I said it in Baltimore. And essentially, when you look at a lot of the black dual threat quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick, they are like extremely athletically gifted. Cam Newton, especially, and they didn't have the best mechanics. I mean, essentially, this also came from a thought of like, what if Cam Newton was raised by Arch Manning? He'd be like by far the GOAT, And that was kind of the impetus of the series in terms of like, that's kind of what this is. It's like this guy is athletically gifted, but he doesn't, like, essentially. This is also true in basketball, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like now with like the training and all these resources, you can basically build a quarterback.
Yes.
Like if you put a football in their hand since they were like, they're 4, and that's essentially what's happening with Jacob. So Jacob is like the coach's son, where his technique is perfect. His technique and discipline is perfect, whereas DeAndre, he's like rougher. He's rough around the edges. Which is indicative. I mean, they try to make Lamar Jackson play wide receiver. Like it's crazy.
Now I'll ask a production question on this, AJ. Like this, because it's a young adults all ages type of book. It seems like something that would be more so specific for the direct market. What made you choose to specifically bring this to Kickstarter?
Well, I believe that you can do both. I think that there's plenty of books that are brought to the direct market that start off as Kickstarters. Comic books are very expensive to produce, and most creators at our level don't have angel investors giving us thousands of dollars to make funny books.
Yeah.
So we got to source the funds somewhere. So we have had discussions about potentially direct market and whatnot. Having success in the direct market, it increases dramatically when you have the book finished. A lot of times it helps for their decision to purchase a book or potentially put it out or whatnot. I've always been of the belief that you can put out something independently, do the best that you can. If it is successful, somebody will pick it up. I mean, there's so many examples of that. From Jeff Smith's Bone to, everything. I can give a million examples of creators who put out their book, kickstarted it, shopped it around for a couple years at cons or whatnot, or at least it took them that long to finish it. If it's a 12-issue series, that's going to take a while, and then once you get to that point where it's complete and now it's a collected volume, now it's just a different entity. Now it's no longer a floppy comic book. It's a book now we can talk to bookstores, we can talk about direct markets and stuff, and they don't have to wait for a potential next issue. No, the story's complete, we're done.
Yeah, it's
a pretty package, and take it or leave it. And if no one takes it, okay, then we just get the profit off of it indefinitely. So to me, it's a win-win. As long as we clear the cost of production, for me, it's always a positive. I've cleared on all my independent comic books. I haven't made millions of dollars, but I've cleared the cost of production on all of my books, and they're all expensive to make. Mm-hmm. So even just clearing the cost of production on a book is already a huge success point for an independent creator. So to me, once we hit that point and we're in the black, we're gambling with house money at that point. So that's just my approach. I'm fortunate enough where I am not a full-time comic book creator. I do have other things that I have going on in my life, so I can take more risks. I don't need to get rich off of every comic book that I make in order to keep my head above water. I would love to eventually get to that point. That's the goal, but I know we can get there incrementally if we just stay consistent, keep putting out this high level product. Because to me, this is a high level product.
Word.
If we as creatives can keep doing this, then I think that sky's the limit for us as creators. So that's where I'm at.
Now, if I could ask, how did you two meet? Did y'all meet on social media?
Yeah, I think I saw Stokes talking smack on Twitter. I'm like, yo, this dude is crazy, yo. And he would always host lives too. That's another thing. He would host a bunch of Twitter lives, and I think I hopped in one or whatever. I heard him talking. I was like, oh, this is cool. These guys are, really talking a lot of relevant stuff. When you start in the comic book industry, I had no mentorship. I had no help. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And all the help that I found, everything was very, very beginner. Everything was like, oh, you want to write your first comic, or you want to find your first artist? And once you get past that point, it's really hard to find people at the intermediate level who even know what they're talking about. So, Stokes created community. He's smart. He created community. He opened up himself to the community on Twitter so that people could have access to his ideas and whatnot, and that's how things. It was just organic, So
definitely Twitter, and I always felt like AJ. We were I think both open-minded people, like you said, kind of like-minded. And I also think we're at different kind of stages in our lives that kind of work, I think really well. Like, I feel like there were things that AJ was tremendous at that I had to get better. Like, I mean, you have Dragonface. Dragonface was one of the first trades I got. Like, it might have been my first indie trade. No, that's not true. I had Destiny New York, but that was one of our early ones. Mm-hmm. And I was just impressed by how this felt like a professional book. This felt like the soft touch, I didn't know what soft touch was. UV, I didn't know any of that. Mm-hmm. And so that was like, damn, I need to get like you. And then now I feel like, you got Tap or Die next to Dragonface. I feel like, damn, like it's like it all, it came full circle. So I bridged the gap there. And I think also like he's a family man, he's got, he's a father. So I don't got, I'm single as hell. So like, and then I feel like in terms of Kickstarter, in that kind of general area, I feel like that's where I feel like I had the knowledge at. So it was kind of like a perfect kind of thing. I feel like, and things really, really meshed. And like having Dragonface, I think getting that was a very important, like for my development. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I need this spy gloss. Like, this shit is crazy.
As a matter of fact, I think of course I remember the Kickstarter because it was 3 graphic novels in one Kickstarter. So obviously I had to look at my wallet and be like, okay, which one of these joints I'm gonna get? And the crazy thing is, when I picked up Dragonface, and of course I read it, oddly enough, this year a book came out, and I was like, this reminds me of this, and it
What
just
was the
so
book?
it was Exquisite Corpses.
Oh, so yeah, it's funny. I've seen Exquisite Corpses. I haven't read it,
Because of the
but
character details in
but I
the
do notice the motif with the crazy masks and the blood and guts. Yeah, it does seem reminiscent. I can't say that the whole mask thing, because even Dragonface, like I look at Chainsaw Man and I'm like, oh, there's a guy with a huge chainsaw for a head, and
Mhm.
I kind of had the whole oversized dragon head too. There's nothing new under the sun. I have not read Exquisite Corpses. I know it's doing really well. I
Yeah,
know it's. Do you like it? Is it a good series? Is it
it's a,
is it
it's a very good series.
is it
I'll
a really
say
good
that.
series? Okay,
It's
yeah,
just you see a myriad of characters, and all of them are specific
yeah,
killers, and they're very
yes,
different, and they're
right,
all masked in some
masked
sort of
up. Yeah,
way.
you're right. Yeah,
So when I read this, I was like, that looks
yeah,
like this.
yeah. It reminds me of that. It certainly reminds me of that for sure. Hey, what can I say?
Yep.
Um,
No. Nah, I'll definitely say that.
but
Now,
I have to say that I'm really inspired by the fact that both of you guys found Dragonface, read it, and you know enjoyed it, because once again I wrote Dragonface when I was like in a dark place. Like I wrote it not
Oh,
even.
really?
Yeah,
Couldn't tell.
I wrote it not even knowing that if it would come out, or if I was going to do anything with it. This was literally the first. Well, I wrote Dragonface and Kimmy Cosmic at the same time,
That's
and I
crazy.
think Kimmy Cosmic was the antithesis to Dragonface. I needed something bright and fun to write to balance that out.
hmm
But yeah. So just the fact that you guys were inspired by that, and Stokes, like, equally, man. When I got to K, that was the first comic of yours that I read.
that was the first one of his I
And
read too.
I was like, oh man, this guy knows dialogue, and it feels good. It feels authentic. So I just real recognize real. What can I say? I
Yeah.
saw that he was a great creator, and this is not easy what we do.
Word.
This is not easy what we do. And once again, even as black men as well, trying to move into the space, it really takes a lot of dedication and diligence and everything. So thank you, Stokes, for doing what you do, and also for recognizing what we're doing. James, is also important. Thank you.
No, no, absolutely. Look, I think the first time I talked to Stokes was with the K1,
I think
and
it was the K2.
it was it the K2.
I think so.
It might have
Let me
been.
look.
I don't know. It might have been the
Let me do a little
K1.
research.
But the thing was, the what you described yourself as, you didn't describe yourself as a comic book writer. You described yourself as a screenplay writer.
Oh, me back in the day? Yeah,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, it's funny how, like, I just always
transition. You
respected.
blossomed into this, man. Just,
Thank you.
you know what I'm saying? That's what you
Yes.
did. You
Yes.
just
I
you transformed.
it's funny. I tried to write a script. I tried to write a script like last month, bro. I almost tore a hammy. I was like, yo, what is this? So like in the comic, everything's frozen, but like, you have to have somebody like actively doing something.
hmm
It was crazy. But yeah, I got into comics and I respected the medium 100%. Like never wanted to be that guy that's like, oh, this is kind of like a transition to like movies or what have you.
Yo, I hate that trend, man. It's
Yeah.
like, why out of all the mediums are comic books only regarded as a segue? The amount of people who have hit me up say, "Hey, I wanted to make a movie, I wanted to make a TV show, but you know what? I think I would rather make a comic first and then use that to kind of." And I'm like, and I always tell people, read comics,
Yeah.
understand comics, because usually those people who say that are not comic book readers.
To
So I'm like, hey, go read. Here's my favorite, top 20 graphic novels. Go read a couple
yeah.
of those, familiarize yourself with the medium, and then really assess if it's something that you want to do. But do it because you want to make a comic. Don't do it because you want to make a movie and you're using a comic to storyboard your movie. Like,
Hell no.
To be honest, that might be, and I'm not going to hold you for too long, but that might be where most of the problem is. A lot of people think that things are adaptable outside of a comic book.
MCU ruined
It was
everyone's
like,
expectation. Everyone's like, oh,
like
you could just.
your brain is fogged. It shouldn't even go there. It's like
I think if
like
your comic could even serve as a as a storyboard for a movie, I think you messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the structure can be, it's not 100, it's not like a 1-to-1 in terms of like it should never work like that, but generally speaking, they're just so different
Yeah.
of mediums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
The
saying? Like,
aesthetics.
could a comic be like the art of, could that establish like the art direction? 100%. But no, I mean, no, exactly. And for me, it was just like I just started to love the medium even more. And the better I got, the more I felt like to me, I just wanted to create a classic, and the better I got at it, I was like, damn, like I feel like I'm getting closer relative. I'm not getting closer as in like, oh, I'm one away. But
Hmm.
I started to appreciate that even more so, and like honestly, probably without AJ, I don't even know if I make this book, like this is
Yeah.
it, because it's like it's not easy to make. It's not easy to make comics, and my brain is such in the opposite direction of this. It would like I don't even know what I would do, like, and it's not like like I don't give a fuck about aliens where it's like a 30-page, you know what I'm saying, like, Patrick Mulholland, he, whatever he makes, and then,
Hmm.
so it's like this absurdly is this huge budget, but it's not like a throwaway either, like I approached this I approached this like this could sell and bring in an audience that could like and something that could sustain like my entire career,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
the big thing I've seen from the both of you is that, a lot of people have seen authors over years that have sort of found their niche and been like,
Hmm.
okay, this person is specific to sci-fi. This person is specific to horror. And the thing is, y'all have kind of like thrown in the gauntlet. Be like, okay, let's just like bust this whole spectrum open and show everybody all type of facets of every genre that we're doing. You've done that, when you stepped out of Decay,
Yeah,
and I think you stepped into your manga genre first.
it was Tap or Die, and then it was the manga. Yeah.
Yeah, so like ultimately you did that when you were talking about Dragon Face and then Kimmy Cosmic. You basically showed for the most part it was like there's not just one side of me. I'm not just going to write horror books the entire time, and that's just going to be me. In order for you to actually be a renowned writer, like you have to show different sides of yourself.
If you're a good storyteller, you can tell any type of story.
Hmm.
And I'm working on a children's book right now, idea that I got with my wife, and at the same time I'm still writing, Shadowman for with Valiant Comics right now, which is a straight up mature rated horror book.
Hmm.
So my interests, like as a person, like when it comes to music, I'll listen to classical music, I'll listen to hip hop, I'll listen to Afrobeat, you know, I listen to everything. I watch Pixar movies. I watch a documentary. I watch a horror movie. I watch an action film all in the same day.
Yeah.
So I'm variety is the spice of life because I absorb so many different types of content. I'm going to create everything as well. So yeah, anytime we have any type of idea, I would love to try to make it. I have a list of story ideas. Stokes has a list of story ideas,
Hmm.
and if you give us enough time to cook, you'll see a wide variety of content coming from us.
That's
I
what's
can
up.
tell you the genesis of that too, because I had Decay 1, or Decay 1 and 2, and then Choose the
Here's
Thoughts.
the thoughts.
It was Decay 2 when I jumped on. Uh and Choose the Thoughts, and my pitch would be like, hey, do you like horror? Because I was just trying stuff out, and people would be like, no, and I was like, oh, well, have a nice day. And so for me, it was like I knew instantly, like, damn, I want to, like, it was kind of like it was funny because I was almost working for conventions, like the sell conventions as a primary focus, and then doing Kickstarter as a second. Like, the making money on Kickstarter was secondary to doing conventions, because like I can do these conventions, and like this is like pretty consistent, and it pivoted, and now it's kind of like, and it's like some books do better than others. Like, now it's kind of like ping pong. Some will do better on Kickstarter, and some will do, or what have you. And it was funny because I was getting into it with somebody, and they were like, "Oh, quality, is so much more important than quantity." And it's just like, look, first off, the quality is there, but also what happens when you get on a con table and you got 4 books? Like, what's gonna happen? You know, like, I probably had like 30 books on my table. You know, like at the very, if it's a buffet, at least it's a good buffet. Other than like, you want the places that got like, three different things that, and I just feel like you're setting yourself up, behind the 8 ball. You know what I'm saying? You're setting yourself up at a disadvantage when you walk into a convention. And not only are you competing against like fan art, you compete against so much. Like, you're not even giving yourself the best shot if you only got 4 books.
It's true.
It's so weird is that you don't, at least at this point, I don't really know my customers actually. Like, somebody comes up to my table, it'll be some big burly dude with like, a bunch of like, maybe goth makeup or something like that. And I'm like, oh, here's Dragon Face. And he's like, no, I'm not interested in that. What's this Kimmy Cosmic thing? And then conversely, it'll be like a little girl. And I'm like, oh, here's Kimmy Cosmic. She's like, no, what's that Dragon Face thing though? I want to read that. And it's like, I'm always shocked by what people pick out at my table, because I try to read people and I can't read them. They end up going for something that I can't predict. So that's why it's just like you said, have the buffet out there and have it, and not on some Golden Corral buffet, but on like one of those good like the casino resort buffets. You know what I mean? Like
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I work in casinos. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Nice. Word. Now, outside of basically Silent Count, to get back into that theme, I'll start with AJ. What's your favorite football moment of all time? Comic or real life?
You talking about me?
I say AJ first. You go. Think about it. Think about it.
Wow.
Well, 84.
My favorite football moment. I can tell you my least favorite football moment. My least favorite football moment is when the Bills, the first time the Bills went to the Super Bowl in '93, and we lost to the Giants.
To the Giants?
Wide right, and Scott Norwood. Right. That's my least favorite. Followed very closely by 17 seconds when the Bills lost to Mahomes. 17 seconds. Like when I tell you I had an out of body experience, like when the Bills lost that game, for about an hour after, I still like thought we won. Like the denial was so real. It didn't register that we lost.
Gabe Davis got that TD. You thought it was over.
I couldn't emotionally wrap my head around. So anyway, favorite football moment. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to say. It's probably the first time the Bills went to the Super Bowl. So before that game, we lost to the Giants. Just it being in Buffalo and just going to the Super Bowl for the first time and being a little kid and just having that feeling and just your entire city just go like that. It's just unreal. Like I just can't really describe that. And if it's not that, it's gonna be something that Josh Allen did. He's had so many like miraculous moments over these past few seasons. It's hard to pick out one. My brain thinks about that San Francisco 49ers game where the snow was going crazy and he throws it to Amari Cooper, and it was a bad pass, and Amari Cooper kind of fumbles it and threw it back to Josh Allen, and then Josh Allen dove for the touchdown. Or when he ran 30 yards for the touchdown against the Chiefs. Like, though, it's just those moments are just like, oh man, the only thing that doesn't make it like incredible is that it wasn't in the Super Bowl. But yeah, sorry, that was a long answer to your question. You just got me going about football. But yeah, I'd have to say when the Bills first went to
it builds out how this comic came about. That's how I like about it. Mm-hmm. Stokes, what you got?
I mean, 2017, bro. Like, of course. 2017 when they won was crazy. I will say Jalen Carter is one of my favorite. He's probably my all-time favorite Eagle.
Jalen Carter,
because I feel like the Jalen Carter comics in a sense, in that he's like disruptive, like I could really in the play style, like talking like just crazy. I mean, too crazy sometimes, right? Like like
where he spits on Dak Prescott. Yes,
I would love to spit on Dak Prescott. No, but it was kind of like that, and the fact that in the next Super Bowl, like not the next, which was the next one, but the one after that. The fact that he was like the best player on the field, and there's like he fucked that Mahomes up, and he inspires one of the characters. He's like the inspiration for one of the characters later in the series, and that was like a really fun thing, is to like kind of take these characters that I really like, these players I really admire, and to like do homage to them. And I would love to show him one day. I don't know how he'd take it because it's not like super flattering, but he made it to the book, you know.
Mm. Okay. Now, I have to ask you this, AJ. Is it Jim Kelly or is it Josh Allen?
It's Josh Allen. I mean,
Josh Allen.
I love Jim Kelly. I mean, I love Jim Kelly. The Buffalo, we love Jim Kelly. But I mean, Josh Allen is he's generational. You know, he's generational, and his time for him to accomplish as much as he has accomplished at this stage in his career. Who knows what could happen for the second half? I think we're kind of like at the midpoint of his career potentially.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen? And we just need one. I know people want to get just give us one. We just need one.
Getting close.
Just one chip.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love Jim Kelly. It's really hard. The nostalgia that I think of when I think of that team, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, like Andre Reed was my favorite player. It's amazing. But Josh Allen to me is just he's a different player. We're the S tier alien level of quarterbacks now, where it's becoming a different position.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Josh Allen is one of the quarterbacks who represents why it's a different position than it used to be. It's not the Jim Kelly era is no more, you know. So unfortunately, it's Josh Allen.
Dang. So Jalen Carter or Reggie White?
Jalen Carter, I wasn't alive.
Dang.
I don't know if I was on the planet at the same time as. Unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't even know
you ain't lived to see Reggie.
I don't know. If for me, it's always about how am I feeling, like what player, like because it's tough because Carson Wentz, you know, I actually met him.
Okay.
Bum, right? Jalen Hurts, while I appreciate Jalen, I'm nothing like Jalen Hurts. Like literally, we could not be more different. But I felt like Jalen Carter was like, yo, I feel like I could get a beer with this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he kind of embodies what I want to feel like when I'm walking down. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm walking down a convention floor. You know what I'm saying? That's how I want to feel. You know what I'm saying? Like not like be rude, like get out of my way, but I guess like metaphorically, you know, get out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like and being disruptive. And no other player has made me feel so confident and so motivated, you know what I'm saying, in my personal life, you know. And like I stand by it. Like Jalen Carter comics, I feel like it's apt. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like, you know, especially remember 2022, 2023. Like I feel like it's on point comparison.
Now, 4 issues for a silent count. Now, when we're talking about that, within these 4 issues, do we feel like is it a limited series? Is there expansion to this? Is there spin-offs of this? Is there a character that you could see could spin off of this?
I mean, if you asking me, yeah.
We had a discussion about a potential sequel series. I like to think of comic books nowadays, even though we already made this, I already broke the comparison between comics and movies. I like to write my comics like a movie. Like if I do Dragon Face, it's 5-issue series. It's kind of over and done with. Yeah, it's open ended, but you kind of get a complete story, right, off of this. Yeah. It's not like volume 3 of Green Lantern. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's like it's an own thing that we can dip back into this a few years later and continue it without that, without the continuity feeling like you're waiting for that next story. So the idea with Silent Count is to tell a complete story, and then hopefully, if it's successful and we get the fruits of our labor, then we can definitely go and do another series. Stokes already kind of dry pitched me another. So these kids are in high school. So if they're in high school, what's next after high school, right? So
I can see it, bro. I can see it so easy. It's uncanny how well I think a sequel series would do. But yeah, this is a complete story. Like AJ said, like it has a beginning, middle, and end, and I think that's how you appreciate it. I'm not gonna say if, I'm gonna say when, because I just have the utmost faith. If you give me like 50 of these shits at the start of a year or start of con year, I'm gonna run out. Like that's how I feel about it. And
it's
then,
a unicorn.
You do the math on that, right? And then you multiply that by 2 people, so for me, the Kickstarter was just the start. That's how I look at things now. The Kickstarter is just a start. And like I said, I know when I'm at a convention and like a kid walks up and I have nothing, I literally don't even feel comfortable speaking to them. You know, I say, "Hey, buddy," you know, but you know, I can see it, and when it's collected, when it's got the soft gloss, you know, the UV gloss on it, and I know the print is going to be immaculate.
Yeah,
Like I feel like it's gonna fly off the I feel like it's gonna fly off the table.
that's what's happening. Now,
Yeah.
there's always like transitional handoff points in the middle of a series. If you felt like the sequel series, if AJ wanted to pick up like an issue or two, you got him.
Nah, this is me.
Dang.
Like I said, I don't want to get in the way of you. You mentioned before how Stokes is very meticulous. He is very, very meticulous.
Yeah.
So you know, I definitely think that if I popped in, I probably would do like an issue, like a zero issue, or like a
Yep.
like a you know like a fill in one shot or something like that. Like
Yep.
maybe Coach Taylor gets a little prequel issue or something like that. You know that's something I could see myself contributing to. Or if we did do like a spin off series where we had a couple series running concurrently or something like that. If it expanded to that point, you know, I got plenty of stuff that I'm writing right now.
Mm.
I got a lot of work that I'm working on myself. So I definitely appreciate the fact that I can trust someone as talented as Stokes to carry the workload of this series. And also there's other stuff that I want to work on with him and other people. So you know, everything has to happen in time. You know, the one thing about comics is that comics are kind of slow
Yeah.
in comparison to other you know forms of arts. You got to be patient with it. So you know, once again on a long enough timeline, everything is possible, and I think everything will be possible once we really get going.
I don't know if I ever told AJ this, but essentially, so I told him the pitch. He was like, "Yeah, I like it." And then so we would have a meeting, right? If we had a meeting on Monday and we had like we talked about the bullet points for the issue. I remember we talked about like issue 1 and 2. I had that script finished Friday. Like my goal whenever I get to work for hire or whatever, I mean this is work for hire. This is like well, you know, get into it, but this isn't exactly work for hire. But I was like, yo, anytime somebody wants to give me money to make a book, I'm like, I need to be rehireable. So I was like, so I'm telling you, like it was probably even a Tuesday night. I had that bitch ready on Friday. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm going to make this as easy of a yes as possible. So you know, working and being, you know, professional, meticulous. Also, it's just like, man, I know what it feels like when I have a story beat and I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be fire, and then it doesn't communicate because I didn't have the references or the artist, or maybe it was the right artist. So to me, it's like, how many times am I gonna have an art team this good that you know, with these circumstances?
Mm.
So I was like, nah, I gotta take advantage. You know,
That's a very good point he makes. And this is some advice to comic book creators. You will lose your art team if you take too long to work with them. So if they're ready to, if your artist says, I'm ready to go and you don't have the script ready, or you don't have the money ready for
right?
them to pay them or whatnot, or they will hop on another project, especially if they're high quality, because that means there's other people that they could draw for. And sometimes they'll still cheat on you. Sometimes they'll start a project with you and still hop on another project and do some pages over there and come over there. So it is what it is, but you got to really have your stuff together before you get the artist. Artists should really be the last thing that you get, because when they say yes, they're expecting to start immediately.
Mm. That's amazing.
Being flexible, yeah, like it's different. It's different pace, and like give them the space when they need it. Give them the, you know, the exactly what, like you said, what they need. You know, like if an artist wants to work, you let them work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you
You don't
definitely
want to
don't
waste
stop them.
anybody's time.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I felt like having it ready too. It just having the scripts ready. It just made, I feel like, the actual process just way easier, just way smoother, um as well, because we already had a foundation. We already knew where we were going. and I felt like the story was great. I felt like it unfolded like perfectly. And that everything just felt like super natural, and also to have this story. I might have had this idea for like 10 years. Like I remember I watched Friday Night Lights like 2012. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I had it, and just to see it, and also it just be completely different than I could have imagined. You know, Gabriel he's so dynamic. He's always doing something like pretty crazy. Some of the composition here is insane.
It's like he draws with a fisheye lens. You know, there's like this weird distortion with the angles that he does with a lot of his stuff, and
Yeah,
that's high art. Like,
yeah,
we both work with a lot of artists, and I can tell you that a lot of artists don't even know how to do this. You know, like the angling, it's
Yeah.
the distortion, and like I said, it's almost like he has a camera lens that's distorted the way he draws, and
Yeah,
it comes out really, really good.
it's like he's basically drawing every picture as if he was a different camera on the field. I'll give you the
Yeah,
aerial, I'll give you the one from the ground, I'll give you the
man,
one that's basically a cross.
man you know what you're talking about, man. You know how to do this podcast stuff, huh?
yeah, man, I give
You're
you
pretty good at
compliments.
this.
Look, I try.
I know
But
you read it. What you think? I know you read the first issue.
yo, the first issue is dope, and the thing is, it's perfect for all ages. I mean,
Yeah,
how many kids, especially teens, 10 to 16, 17, love football? And the
yeah.
thing is, they can you think we talking football? You hear kids talk about football teams at a lunch table?
They got more time.
Nuts. Like they'll talk about their favorite player till they're blue in the face. Matter of fact, they might even get into a fist fight because of their favorite player. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
boy,
So
it must be
this,
a Northeast,
no,
Northeast thing.
look, I'm just saying that's definitely a thing.
Yeah,
So imagine, especially during con season, a lot of these kids will basically be going around, and you got these like most of the kids will think to themselves already in their heads, superheroes and all this other type of stuff. But the second that they see like a football player, be like, I play football, and then boom,
yeah,
that's yourself right there. You
yeah.
play Pee Wee, you play Pop Warner, you play middle school, so on and so forth. That's pretty much the go.
Yeah, if AJ, can you show the back cover? The back.
The back cover look crazy with the mouth.
So I think this happens with me with American Yakuza, because I know y'all seen American Yakuza.
Mm-hmm.
The very first image of American Yakuza I saw was like, frankly, the very best image of American Yakuza. Like the cover with him drinking the tea.
Ah,
Like you're not beating it. It's just iconic. And I feel like that back cover, we had a conversation about making that a variant. I was like, no, that's the volume. That is the volume. Um, with the UV on the tape, that's gonna be it. And
I want to make the gridiron metallic, like a foil.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
That'd be dope.
sounds incredible. So I think one thing I give myself credit is I understand when something is iconic and when it's not. And not to say the number one cover is like phenomenal. It's amazing, but and it is just a football comic
yeah.
cover, whereas the back cover really speaks to the tone and the what the series is about. And I think once you get a grip on that,
Yeah.
I think that's what's really aided me with conventions. Is I also say the Kimmy Cosmic. I mean, the Dragon Face cover is crazy too. The Kimmy Cosmic one with the cape is excellent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just
Yeah.
something when you see it, yeah, you just
The
know. Like,
majority of it is the cape. It's like
yeah,
like the biggest aspect of the front cover is the cape.
with the galaxy on the
Yeah.
inside, when you just know, and I feel like that's like the one, and it's just an eye, right? And I feel like that's the one thing is when you look at somebody's comic books and it's just like, yo, would you pick this up? You know what I'm saying? If it was
Mhm.
if the show was on like a bookshelf, like I know I know I'll pick up damn Dragon Face. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
telling you, I would stop if I saw that back cover on a convention table. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? And if it was glossy or metallic, forget about it.
Yeah,
So
and the thing is, even well, you know how people like to add on the Kickstarters, and imagine what you could do from a football angle. You can, if you wanted to build out, if the money was right, you could do varsity letters if you wanted to. You could pretty much do patches from the team. You could pretty much you could do anything football related. Shoot, you could do custom shoulder pads if you wanted to. You could you could do the glare patches and put silent and put count on the other side. You could do so many things. So many things. Just saying, write that down.
Great idea. Well, we have a one idea. I don't know. I guess we could talk about. We're doing a custom football for the Kickstarter. So that is one of the football related things that we're doing. But yeah, like I said, we're going to be doing 4 Kickstarters to get through this entire series. So over the course of that, hopefully we can build up and get some of those perks that you're talking about.
That's a great idea.
Well, brother, it was excellent to talk to both of y'all.
Yeah.
March 3rd. That's what we talk about. March 3rd.
March 3rd is we're gonna launch the Kickstarter, and then March 6th through 8th, Stokes and I will be at Blerd-Con. In Virginia. So if you guys are at Blerd-Con, come holler at us. Is this where we're doing the part of the show where we shout out all of our stuff?
Yes.
We at that part?
We are
okay.
At that part.
Okay. All right. Please holler at my website, earthtoneking.com, earthtoneking.com. Follow me on all the socials, earthtone_kingdom. Silent Count. We already talked about the Kickstarters coming out. We spoke a lot about my horror book, Dragon Face. So you
Ashcans for Silent Count are going to be available at Blerd-Con.
Yes, Ashcans. So we'll be able to get the Ashcans. But
how do you know?
And the Ashcans are going to be rare because we're not printing any more of these. So whatever we got, that's it. And then you can get Dragon Face from me. You can get my all ages space fantasy cowboy comic. Kimmy Cosmo.
My God, I'm dying.
No, bro, I got these are the copies. These are like the
digest.
Yeah, and then of course, if you are a superhero comic reader, if you're a Valiant comic book fan, I am writing Tales of the Shadowman right now. We are on issue 7. Issue 7 is coming out in a couple weeks, and I just got some good news about some more Valiant related stuff. So
that's what's up.
I'm really having a lot of fun writing this series. People have really been enjoying it. First Black writer to write Shadowman, so I'm happy about
that. That's crazy.
It is crazy, right?
That is nuts.
It's nutso. He's been around since
congratulations, but still, that's crazy.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And I'll pass it off to Stokes.
Stokes, obviously, we talk about the rest of the year. I mean, shoot, man, you probably gonna shoot at the hip from the rest
I know
of the year.
once AJ gets more Valiant jobs, that's good for me. You know what I'm saying? That means I got some more jobs.
Always say for AJ, keep the door open, man. Don't close it.
Listen, man, I'm not a gatekeeper, bro. And we were speaking about this. There's a lot of gatekeeping going on, and you know what, man? What does Jay-Z say? You build a wall, we just get it, we just go under it or whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I knew nothing about the comic book industry when I entered it, right?
Yeah.
So if I was able to get to this point knowing nothing, I don't think there's any gatekeep that's going to keep me from getting to where I can get. It's just about me and my work ethic and my focus. That's the only thing that can stop me. So I extend myself to everybody. Anybody who needs help in this industry, anybody has any questions, I'm very accessible. You can hit me up. I might be a little bit too busy, but I always am here to talk to anybody about what they need, and I will give you any type of, answer that I can provide. So yeah, I feel like a rising tide raises all ships, and it's very clear to me not everyone believes in that, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to still continue to do this. I love comics.
Yeah,
I love this industry, and it's a tumultuous one, but it's also fun as hell. And we're creating art. We're creating art, and I love the fact that we're creating art and literature, because art and literature they tend to stand the test of time.
That's true.
So I feel like we're in a good place. So yeah,
Stokes,
you can definitely hit me up for advice, but buy a book first. You know what I'm saying?
yes. Support. These comics
ain't
free. Nah,
these shit's expensive. No, I mean, it was crazy. American Yakuza number 5. The finale is
I
being
ordered it.
crowdfunded right now, so
I'm waiting for the collected on that to keep it a buck.
I think it's
I
on
mean,
there. Isn't the volume on there on 1
no,
through 5?
no, not yet.
Oh,
Not yet. I'm about to check.
damn,
I'm about to check where it's at. Is it
But
SSK yet?
I just got 5 because that's all I could get for right now. But I thought the volume was on there.
It'll be out soon. And we're already making plans about that. We have a very good cover lineup.
Yep.
I'm launching. I don't give a fuck about Aliens 3 next week. I think Exodus Club with Chris Moses is coming out next month or the month after that. So no, man, just staying busy, man. I love it when there's Kickstarters live. It gives me something to like check out, you know, when I get restless and be like, all right, cool, this one got funded, this one got funded. So nah, man, I mean, I'm like a kid on Christmas, you know, I'm excited.
That's what's happening, brothers. It was good to talk to y'all. I really appreciate the talk. Obviously, March 3rd, Silent Count will be live on Kickstarter. Up for 30 days. We doing the short
Hell
one.
no. Oh no, we're doing a short one for this first one.
Well, we doing
gotta get it while you can get it.
18 days.
Yeah, something like that. 18 days.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
You be paying attention, bro. You see that? You be paying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So look, for if you don't, you're gonna miss it. You got about 18 days from March 3rd. You're gonna get it all the way till about the 3rd week of March. You're gonna have Silent Count in your hands. Issue 1. It's a 4-issue series, so get your hands on this. First 21 days. Anthony Stokes, AJ Ampadu. Thank you, brothers, for being here. I appreciate it 100%.
Salute.
We will talk next time, everybody. So from the Faqs Project, James Grandmaster Faqs Boys, everybody here, we will see you once again. We are out.